All right, so this Knife Thoughts EDC, or everything that doesn't cut video, is going to be on this flashlight, the CS+TEBOKE SC31T SE. So quite the name here, and I will definitely talk about that later. But first of all, why am I doing this review? Well, I've been getting more and more into flashlights, enjoying them a lot, and just like in knives, I'm always interested in checking out a new brand. And this brand is a new brand that is bringing some lights out. I saw about them on Reddit, and as I say in other flashlight videos, I highly suggest, if you like flashlights, taking part in the R Flashlight subreddit. There's a lot of really helpful people there. It's one of the better online EDC communities that I've found. But I heard about this new brand at R Flashlight, the subreddit, and was interested, so I reached out to them, and they told me about this light that is available on Amazon. So I wanted to check it out, and I got it here. This is a pretty classic 18650 tactical EDC budget flashlight. And speaking of the price, it's falling right around $30 right now. When I bought it, it was a little bit more expensive, but there was a discount code available. So right now it's $30, which is right along in line with other flashlights of this type and kind of quality level. So pretty much as low as you can get, I think, to get a really good flashlight. And so definitely not too hard on the budget at $30. But let's talk about the light itself. So this light has a lot of things that are reminiscent of some other brands, and I'm going to show you two flashlights in particular here. So one of those flashlights is the Sofern SP32A V2, and the other is the Workos FC11. Now, it's already known that there is a relationship. I believe they're just known to be made by the same manufacturers, but at least there's a relationship between Workos and Sofern, and I think that a lot of these lights are, if not made in the same factory, at least made in the same area, something like that. A town that has this flashlight industry seems to be the case. And that's something that there's been lots of examples of throughout history, like Sheffield or Solingen for knives. But why do I bring these two lights out? So I bring the Workos out because this light has a head that, as you can see, the CS+TEBOKE has a head that is very, very similar to the head of the Workos FC11. In fact, it's pretty much exactly the same, other than the color of this retaining ring for the switch, the side switch. So they look to be the same to me. Now, there could be some differences, but the other thing is that they actually have the same user interface. It does work a little bit differently because this light has a manual tail switch, but essentially these two lights have the same user interface. So if you're familiar with the Workos FC11, which is one of the more highly recommended lights out there, it's definitely one of my favorite lights, up there with a lot more expensive lights also, then you'll be pretty familiar with the user interface of this light. Now you can see that the clip is also the same, but that's the case for the Sofern also. And then there are some differences. So the body has different knurling or machining, and of course it is a mechanical tail switch. Moving on to the Sofern, you can see that the knurling is very, very similar. I believe that it's the same. So I do think that the bodies of these two lights are pretty much the same, in the same way that the heads are on the Workos FC11 in this light. Now, there is one difference. As you can see, this has some lines going on the body, whereas this doesn't. But other than that, they are pretty much the same. In fact, I believe that this tail cap for the Sofern SP32A V2 will also screw on to the CS+TEBOKE. The problem with that is then the tail cap becomes the mechanical switch, so you have to have it in a mechanical lockout, turn it on, and then you can use it normally. So the threads are the same across the two. You could use the tail cap if you wanted to have a magnetic tail cap on this light. So it's interesting. It's something that in traditional knives, which if you follow my channel, you know that I am a really big fan of traditional folding pocket knives, like something like this, a Union Cutlery K-bar. In traditional pocket knives, a saying that's used a lot is read the knife, not the tang. And what that means is the tang of a knife says the brand. But to know who actually made it, you want to look at the knife itself and how it's built. And that's kind of what I'm talking about on this light. You can tell that this light, this brand, is from the same manufacturer as Sofern, and they say that. When I talked to this brand, they outright said that it's from the same manufacturer as Sofern, it's just a new brand. But I believe that it's also from the same manufacturer, or at least getting parts from the same manufacturer as Werkos. So that's an interesting thing, and it gives you a good idea of the quality. It's a well-made light. It's very solid feeling. The machining is all, good, no big issues or anything like that. And I really do like the user interface of the Werkos FC11. Now let's talk about this mechanical tail switch. So this mechanical tail switch makes this a little bit more of a tactical focused light than a kind of typical EDC or even enthusiast type light. And the reason for that is because when you pull this light out of the pocket, it's really easy to locate that mechanical tail switch and turn it on, and it will always go to the last used brightness or mode other than moonlight, turbo, and strobe. So it does have mode memory, so if you were to turn this on and get it nice and bright and then turn it off, it'll go back to that same brightness. So it does work better as a tactical light. Now, I don't really carry flashlights for self-defense or for deterring people, things like that, but it definitely is something where having this tail switch makes that more of an option. And then how the user interface works is there's two groups. The first group, which is what I'm in, is smooth ramping. So you can see you hold it and ramp down. Then if you let go for 1.5 seconds and then hold it again, it'll go the other direction. If you double click from any brightness, it'll go to turbo, and then click again, it'll go to the last brightness. If you triple click, this is going to strobe. So if you have trouble with flashing lights, don't watch this. If you triple click, it goes to strobe. And then you can also, now this is a little bit more difficult because of the mechanical tail switch. This is really the one downside to the mechanical tail switch. For me, it is a feature that I like on the Werkos FC11 and other lights, and it's a little bit harder to use with this. You have to basically use two hands, and that is the direct to moonlight. You can do it if you hold down this mechanical switch, or I'm sorry, if you hold down the E switch over here and press the mechanical switch, it actually turns on at the lowest, the moonlight level. And then from there you can ramp and such. But to do that one-handed is possible. So if you hold and then click, it is possible, but it certainly isn't easy, or as I should say, as easy or intuitive as just simply holding and it'll go to the lowest, the moonlight mode, like on a light with just an E switch. But not a huge deal, being that this is more geared towards being a tactical light. Now moving on to the battery, it does come with a battery, which is always nice. It comes with another example of seeing that this is made by the same manufacturer, Sofern. It comes with a Sofern battery. So it's a good battery, it's going to work fine, and you can interchange it with other Sofern batteries. Now, speaking of the battery, the charging, the nice thing is that this does come with a USB-C charging port. Now, for a long time, I was against these charging ports. I thought that they broke really easily. I found that these from really Sofern and Workos and other, you know, reputable brands seem to work pretty well. The ones that I found didn't work well were on keychain lights. So I don't know if it was because they were dangling around on my keychain or what, but they always fell out. These so far haven't. So I actually do like the ability to charge the light directly on the light like this. It's actually pretty useful. So I've kind of come around to that, and I know certainly other people like it. I gave my in-laws a light that has this feature, and they just recently told me how much they like the light specifically because of that. So kind of interesting what people enjoy if they're not enthusiasts. But it does charge with that, and the electronic switch is also an indicating switch. So this means that it has over 30% battery. If it were red, it would be under 30% battery. And then if it was blinking, it means like you gotta basically replace the battery. It's too low. So again, very similar to the indicating switch on the Workos FC11, which all makes sense because I do think that it's the same head on the light. Now, it also has an LH351D emitter, and I believe that it's 5,000 for the temperature, but I'm not 100% sure on that. It seems like it is. I think that's part of what this says here. I'm not 100% sure on that, and it doesn't seem like it says it anywhere, but I do think that it's 5,000. Just to give you an example, this is 2700, and I know that you can't see that very much, but much warmer temperature. This, like I say, I believe is 5,000. So you can see the difference, but again, as a tactical, more tactical focused light, I think that you want the higher brightness and intensity that a higher color temperature gives versus the, you know, nicer look that a lower color temperature gives. So I do like the emitter. I think that it's a, you know, a good emitter. It does have an orange peel, so it's a little bit less of a wonky beam profile than if it were to have a smooth reflector. So I appreciate the orange peel. And in general, I have to say that I think this is a really good light. If you're looking for a budget-friendly but tactical-oriented light, I think this is a really good option. It comes with a lot of features that I do really enjoy, like the onboard charging. It comes with a battery, which is always nice. It has the direct to turbo as well as direct to low. Even if it's a little tougher, you could definitely use it if you got up in the night and just wanted to be able to see a little bit. You could certainly do it just like that. And it carries well. It's very thin for being an 18650 light. It's not the shortest 18650 light, but it still carries well for me. No issues with the clip, and certainly, like I say, easy to get to that button when you pull it out of your pocket. So I do think that this is a good option if you are looking for a really budget-friendly, tactical-oriented EDC light. And the real downside, I told you I'd come back to this, is the brand name. It's just way too hard to pronounce. It's too long for it to be an acronym. And I asked them, you know, what is this? Well, how do you say it? Why is it this? And if I remember correctly, I was looking at the email just before this, but I'm afraid I'm gonna get it wrong again. I believe that CS is the town that these companies are in, and then Təbəkə, I believe, is how it's supposed to be said. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'll check and put it in the description. But Təbəkə is the factory. So again, if I got that wrong, I will put the correct information in the description. But either way, it is just too hard to pronounce. And not only that, but I find that this light is really difficult to find on Amazon. Now, I ordered it through Amazon, so I can just go to my orders and click it, and it's there. But if you try to search for this light, it's pretty difficult. So it's too bad, because I do think that it's a good thing to have more options out there. And I certainly, you know, they were very helpful and nice to me. So I wish them well, but I think that this is just a tough brand name for English-speaking people. So that's really the biggest downside to this light, in my opinion, is the brand name and the marketing surrounding it. But I have enjoyed getting to check this light out and use it, and I would definitely keep it in my rotation. And if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, click the bell, and select all so you know when I post new videos. Real quick, almost forgot, the light comes with a manual, a lanyard, and 2 extra O-rings, and then a charging cord. Another thing, this charging cord is exactly the same as the ones that come with Workos lights. So anyway, make sure you subscribe. Check out my other social media on Instagram and Facebook at Knife Thoughts, and my website knifethoughts.com, where I post articles on knives mostly, but also EDC, things like this. And last but not least, as always, don't forget to go out and do good.